Welcome back to the final video in our tutorial series for the beadshop.com Pathways Herringbone Cuff. This free tutorial is also available as a PDF download on our website, www.beadshop.com. Be sure to stop adding rows in the Superduo herringbone pattern before you reach your desired length. The seed bead tab will add 3/8 of an inch to the final total length of your cuff. So, I'm going to show you how to add the final tab. Stitch in your button loop and stitch on your button. If you're not familiar with how to do macrame, there is a free skill builder PDF on our website, again, www.beadshop.com, that will guide you in how to do macrame. So this is a 2-inch length of regular size C-line. I'll set that aside in the button, and we're going to finish up with our seed bead tab. Alright, so now we're going to switch back to the size 8 seed beads to finish our tab. We're going to start with 2 seed beads, and we're still stitching in herringbone, so down through this size 8 and up through the Superduo next to it. And we'll just continue that across the row. This is our third stitch with 2 size 8 seed beads, down through the next 8, up through the top hole of the Superduo. And then again for our final stitch of the row, I'm just going to go down through the size 8 on the edge. Now we're going to turn our work. We're going to pick up 1 turning bead, and we're going to go up through this size 8 at the corner. Don't worry if your thread gets pulled out a little. You can grab the turning bead and pull it horizontally away from the work, and that snugs everything up. Alright, so now we're in position. We're going to do another herringbone row. We're going to pick up 2 seed beads, go down through the next seed bead, up through the seed bead after it. And we're going to do that across the row. Down through the next seed bead, up through the one after it. And again, for our final stitch of the row, we'll take 2 seed beads and go down through this last seed bead. Great. Now, we can turn our work. We're going to complete an invisible turnaround that's going to bring our needle back up through this bead. So first, I'm going to stitch down through this Superduo, this turning bead, and make a loop up and around like so. So I'm going to go down through the Superduo and the turning bead. I'm going to go in through this seed bead and back up through the bottom hole of that same Superduo. I'm going to go up into the bottom stitch of this column, the bottom bead of this column, and then I'm going to pull my thread over to the left and go up through the corner. So now we've turned around and we're ready to finish the last 2 rows using ladder stitch. So to begin the ladder stitch, we're going to pick up 4 seed beads. We're going to go down through this bead and up through the next, just as if it were a herringbone stitch. You'll see that the 4 beads will stack into the 2 columns. Now we're going to pick up another 2 seed beads, and we're going to go down through this column that we just added. Then we're going to go back up. We'll bring our needle over to the right and go back up through the 2 that we just added and the 1 right below them. Pull it a little tighter there. There we go. All right. Now we'll pick up 2 more seed beads. And again, we're going to go down through this one, up through the next, as if it were a herringbone stitch. We'll pick up 2. And we're going to go back down through the ones that we added on the previous column. And then back up through the ones we just added. And we're going to continue this to the end. We're almost there. 2 more size 8 seed beads. We're going to go down through this next 8 and then up through the 8 after it. And we'll add 2 more seed beads to our needle and stitch back down through the ones that we just added. And then back up. And now we just have 2 final beads to add. 1, 2, size 8 seed beads. We're going to go down through, all the way down through the bottom, back up through the previous column. And now we have completed the stitch. We've got all of our beads on, and now we've got some thread, some extra thread. What we can do is weave back and forth through this area to reinforce it, just like we did at the beginning. I like to go down through 2 beads and then go back up and then back down through 2 beads and back up, and so on, until your thread is ready to be tied off and cut, and you're done. So I've woven my thread back down. I've reinforced these stitches by weaving up and down through 2 and then 1, and now I've buried my tail. I wove my tail back down into the body of the work, and now I'm going to tie it off. I'm just going to run it through another bead or 2. And then I'm going to snip it. I'll snip the thread close to the body of the beadwork. And now we're ready to weave in our original tail and apply our loop and our button. To remove your stop bead, just pinch the bead firmly and pull it straight away from your beadwork, and it should slide right down the thread and come off. And now you can weave this tail in just like the previous tail. Now we're ready to stitch on our button and apply our thread loop. So to stitch on the button, I've cut about a 2 or 3 foot length of Ceylon, and I've threaded it onto my collapsible eye needle. And now I'm going to find the spot where I want the button. I'm going to bring the thread from the back to the front, in between beads, right in the center. Leave the tail, don't let it slip through. Now I'm going to pick up the button. I'm going to go from the back to the front, and then from the front to the back, so that it makes its nice little loop over. And then I'm going to string my needle back through the space just above where the thread came out. Then I'm going to tighten this up and check to make sure I like where the button is at. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to continue stitching the button on, and when I'm done, I'll tie the tails together, trim them, dot a little bit of glue, and cinch the ends. All right, so we've stitched on our button, and now it's time to put our thread loop on the opposite end. You want to make sure that your thread loop is on the same side of the bracelet as your button, so that when it's closed, it loops over like so. All right, so once you have your 2-inch macrame section, fold it in half, and then press the two ends a little flat, like so. And then we're going to take these tails and thread them up into the beadwork, bring them out on the back side, tie them, glue them, and snip them short. I'm going to start by threading one tail into my collapsible eye needle. And I'd like it to go in right here. So I'm going to take my needle, my collapsible eye needle, up through this size 8 seed bead, which is the end of the tab. It's going to go in through the front and come out through the back. And just pull that through. Then I'm going to do the same thing with its neighbor. Take my tail, get it through the needle, and I'm going to come up with this neighboring tail thread right next to it, in the same way into the seed bead right next to it. There. In through the front, out through the back, and pull it through, and then on the back I'm going to grab both of the tails together like so and just snug it up so that it's nice and flat against the front. And now we can tie these tails together and do the same with the other side. And we're going to take a little pause here. This will be movie magic. All right. So we have a loop on the back. It's our second tail, second set of tails. I'm going to tie those off and we're done. So here's our completed Pathways cuff, and we hope that you enjoyed this project and video, and we welcome your comments and questions. Please contact us by email at info@beadshop.com. Have you created a project you'd like to share with us? Send high-resolution pictures and your work may be featured in our Beaders Showcase. Thanks for beading along with us at beadshop.com.